Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shilin, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shilin. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So, if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Did you know that in France, there's a house with a negative number? In the town of Rocamadour, France, you can find a house numbered -1. This building was constructed under a cliff below street level. When the other houses were numbered, the ground-level houses were already given 0 and 1. This unusual designation has now become a local landmark and a curiosity for tourists. After all, it's not every day you see a house with a negative number. Did you know that the oldest tattoo is over 5,000 years old? In 1991, archaeologists discovered a mummy known as Otzi in the Alps. Otzi is around 5,300 years old, and on his body, they found 61 tattoos, mostly lines and crosses. These tattoos may have been used to relieve pain, as they are located near acupuncture points. It's fascinating to think that ancient civilizations used tattoos not just for decoration, but also for healing purposes. Did you know that the Kuwaiti dinar is the most valuable currency in the world? The Kuwaiti dinar, KWD, holds the title as the highest valued currency in the world. Despite Kuwait not having the largest economy, its currency's unique exchange rate gives it incredible worth. One Kuwaiti dinar is equivalent to about $3.30, making it one of the most valuable currencies globally. This means that even a small amount of Kuwaiti dinars can be worth a lot when exchanged for other currencies. Have you ever wondered what the Meteora in Greece hides in its history of fighting against invaders? Meteora consists of unique monasteries perched on high cliffs in Greece. They were built in the Middle Ages by monks who used this inaccessible and protected area as a refuge from Turkish invaders. To reach the monasteries, the monks had to create ladders and special ropes, and until 100 years ago, the only access was via rope ladders. Today, travelers can ascend via a cable car or treacherous stairs, yet they still feel the grandeur and historical power of this place. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute. It serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small, floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Surprisingly, some snakes have vestigial legs. Yes, certain snake species like boas and pythons still possess tiny vestigial legs, called spurs, near their tails. These remnants are the evolutionary leftovers from when snakes' ancestors had fully formed limbs millions of years ago. Over time, as snakes adapted to a slithering lifestyle, they lost the need for legs. But these little spurs remain as a fascinating window into the ancient past of these reptiles. It's like carrying a little piece of history on their bodies, reminding us that evolution is full of surprises. Did you know that earthquakes also happen on the moon? Yes, indeed. The moon experiences its own kind of tremors, known as moonquakes. These shakes can be caused by Earth's gravitational pull, meteor impacts, or tidal forces, and they can last for up to an hour. Surprisingly, moonquakes can reach magnitudes of up to 5.5 on the Richter scale. Just imagine. The moon, our constant celestial companion, reacts to Earth's gravitational pull, as if dancing in space alongside our planet. This shows that the moon is more alive and dynamic than we might think. Believe it or not, the world's deepest lake holds 20% of all the fresh water on Earth. Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, is not only the deepest lake in the world, but also contains 20% of the world's freshwater reserves. Its depth reaches over 1.5 kilometers, and its volume of water is so vast that it could supply fresh water to the entire planet for several years. This incredible lake is also home to unique species of animals and plants that can't be found anywhere else in the world. Lake Baikal is truly a natural treasure. Have you ever wondered who produces the best counterfeit dollars? The most notorious producer of fake American dollars is North Korea. The country manufactures high-quality counterfeit banknotes that are visually nearly indistinguishable from the real ones. These fake bills have been used for various purposes, including financing illicit operations, and have become a problem for global financial markets. Is it possible? The moon is gradually drifting away from Earth. The moon is slowly but surely moving away from Earth at a rate of 3.8 centimeters per year. This process is caused by tidal forces between Earth and the moon, which slow Earth's rotation and gradually widen the moon's orbit. This cosmic waltz has been going on for billions of years. Interestingly, in the distant future, the moon may become so far away that it will no longer appear as bright from Earth as it does now. How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. How would you react if I told you there's a building that's built inside out? In Dubai, one of the most unique skyscrapers in the world is Kayan Tower. This 73-story skyscraper is twisted 90 degrees along its vertical axis. This gives it a distinctive architectural and engineering design. It creates the impression that the building is twisted like a giant spiral. It symbolizes an innovative approach to construction and has become one of the city's main attractions. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery. The world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. The United States is the only developed country that does not provide free healthcare to its citizens. This situation sparks considerable debate in society, especially given the high costs of medical care. In 2019, 28 million Americans were uninsured, placing the country at the forefront of healthcare access issues. Statistics also show that nearly 45,000 people die each year due to lack of insurance. This problem remains a major issue on the political agenda in the U.S., as thousands face denial of medical assistance every year, posing a significant challenge for the nation. Did you know that accents in Britain can change every few kilometers? British English is quite different from American English, and its pronunciation has become increasingly diverse in recent years. Accents in various parts of the UK can vary so widely that you can hear a completely different pronunciation just a few kilometers apart. The royal family is trained to speak Queen's English, which is a distinct and unique standard in the language. Is it possible? The world's longest staircase is on a mountain. Located on Mount Nyanbo Yartso in China, there is a staircase stretching approximately 9 kilometers with over 7,000 steps. The climb takes several hours and requires physical endurance, but the view from the top is worth all the effort. Every year, thousands of tourists take this path to see the incredible landscapes visible only from high above. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely, and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of 1 year, and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Can you imagine the world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days? In 2010, China experienced the longest traffic jam in history, stretching over 100 kilometers and lasting an incredible 12 days. The traffic jam occurred on the highway connecting Beijing and Inner Mongolia, caused by a combination of road accidents and a massive number of vehicles. Some drivers were stuck for so long that they had to negotiate with local villagers for food and water. This event became a true test of patience and endurance, and remains one of the most epic traffic jams ever recorded. Hard to believe, but the largest iceberg was the size of Jamaica. The largest iceberg ever recorded broke off from the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica in 1986. It was about 280 kilometers long and 80 kilometers wide, making its area comparable to the size of Jamaica. This gigantic iceberg was so massive, it could easily have housed entire cities. It drifted in the ocean for several years, slowly melting. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which, despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn. Don't try eating them. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So, despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice, However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. Why do different countries have different sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size. But in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. Is it true that counterfeiting has existed since the inception of coins? Counterfeiting emerged simultaneously with the first coins. Ancient fraudsters began to chip away at the edges of coins to create new ones, thereby diminishing their value. To counteract this, coins started to feature special edges, reading, making counterfeiting more difficult. Despite these measures, counterfeiting remains a relevant issue in various countries today. Why does Sweden have one of the strangest museums in the world? In Stockholm, there is the Museum of Failure, where you can find exhibits of failed inventions, products, and services that did not meet expectations. For example, you can see Coca-Cola with a coffee flavor, strange household gadgets, and even video games that flopped. The creators of the museum believe that we learn from mistakes and that failure is an essential part of any discovery. Visitors often marvel at how bizarre some ideas can be and how far people go in their pursuit of innovation. This museum has become a place where you can laugh at the past and rethink what success means. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Who would have thought that hyperinflation could lead to the devaluation of currency? Hyperinflation can cause a complete devaluation of money, as seen in Germany in the 1920s and Zimbabwe in the late 1990s to early 2000s. In these countries, money became so worthless that people carried it in bags, and banknotes were used as wallpaper because they lost their purchasing power. Such crises highlight the importance of currency stability for a country's economy. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. Incredible but true. The Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the lengths some creatures will go to survive. Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are! Large eyes, but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Is it true that Canada has mysterious singing sands? In Canada's Prince Edward Island National Park, there is a beach where the sand produces melodic sounds when walked upon. This phenomenon, known as singing sands, occurs due to friction between sand grains. This remarkable occurrence can only be heard on a few beaches in the world, and scientists are still unsure exactly why these sands sing. Did you know New Zealand has an official wizard? In 1990, the government of New Zealand officially granted the title of wizard to Ian Brackenbury. His duties include spreading magic and joy throughout the country. This wizard on call has become a true cultural icon, filling his homeland with magic and smiles. If you need a wizard, just head to New Zealand. He's always on hand. This is a great example of how a country can officially invite magic into everyday life. Horsepower. More than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. Can you imagine that Uluru is not just a rock, but a massive monolith revered by many cultures? Uluru is a majestic red monolith located in the center of Australia. It stands 348 meters tall and is one of the most iconic natural landmarks in the world. Uluru holds spiritual significance for the Aboriginal people, who consider it the center of their spiritual world. Despite its popularity among tourists, local traditions call for respect towards this site, including a ban on climbing the rock itself. The most expensive painting ever sold went for hundreds of millions. In 2017, Leonardo da Vinci's painting Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, was sold at auction for an astonishing $450 million. This masterpiece was long considered lost until it was rediscovered in the 20th century. Even after its discovery, debates over its authenticity continued. Many wondered if it was truly painted by Leonardo himself. Nevertheless, its sale made history, turning Salvator Mundi into the most sought-after art piece in the world. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus Armillaria ostoyi. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network rivaling the size of large cities. Is it really possible that Lend-Lease played such an important role in America's growth? The Lend-Lease program, which supplied weapons and food from the U.S. to allies during World War II, was a key element in the country's economic rise. However, few know that, in addition to supporting the Soviet Union and the United Kingdom, the program also included reverse Lend-Lease, whereby allies transferred their naval bases in the Western Hemisphere to the U.S. This granted the U.S. control over the North Atlantic and established it as a naval leader. After the war, With increased industrial production and control over strategic regions, the U.S. emerged as the world's primary economic and military power. Here's what lies behind the Azores: magical nature and unique geography. Located in the North Atlantic, the Azores are renowned for their volcanic landscapes, lush valleys, and geysers. These islands are unique as they sit at the border of two tectonic plates, giving them not only distinct geography, but also active volcanic features. The Azores are not just a destination for nature lovers, but also for those interested in extraordinary natural processes. Amazingly, some doors are always closed. In many historical buildings, especially old castles, there are doors that are never opened. These false doors were created to confuse intruders or ghosts, or simply served a decorative purpose. For example, in British castles, such doors were used to create the illusion of more rooms and to protect residents from unwanted visitors. Today, these doors remain as mysterious architectural elements. Who would have thought that King Louis XIV ruled for 72 years? Louis XIV, also known as the Sun King, holds the record for the longest reign in the history of monarchy. He ruled France for 72 years and 110 days from 1643 to 1715. This incredible reign surpasses all other monarchs in history. During his time, France became the cultural heart of Europe, and Louis himself became the symbol of absolute power. Long live the king who ruled longer than any other. How would you react if you found out that the famous Area 51, known for its top-secret status, is located in Nevada? This highly classified territory is owned by the U.S. government and is one of the most talked-about sites on the planet. It is rumored that experiments involving extraterrestrial technologies and mysterious incidents take place here. The area is shrouded in numerous myths and rumors, which only adds to the intrigue of this location. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Can you believe a sloth can hold its breath for 40 minutes? Sloths, despite their slow movements, possess an extraordinary ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This physiological adaptation helps them survive in the treetops and protect themselves from predators, even allowing them to stay underwater for extended periods when crossing rivers. This unique skill, developed for life in the rainforest canopy, shows how evolution has crafted these creatures to perfectly match their environment. Sloths may be slow, but their adaptations are anything but ordinary. The Babylonian Lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Did you know that ancient maps showed sea monsters? During the age of exploration, when sailors had no idea what lay beyond the horizon, maps often depicted enormous sea monsters. The cartographers who created them frequently drew giant squids, whales, and snake-like creatures in the seas and oceans, warning future travelers of what lay ahead. Some monsters on these maps were inspired by real encounters with unknown sea creatures, while others were pure fantasy. For sailors of that time, a map was not just a guide, but a warning about the dangers lurking beyond the known world. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Did you know that a chameleon's tongue is twice as long as its body? Chameleons are master hunters, thanks to their unique ability to extend their tongues over incredible distances. Their tongues can be twice as long as their bodies. This allows them to instantly capture prey that is far away from them. The chameleon's tongue works like a powerful mechanism that can shoot out with immense speed and precision. It's amazing that this anatomical feature makes chameleons some of the most efficient hunters in the insect world. So next time you see a chameleon, remember, its tongue is a real weapon. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Did you know that an atomic bomb almost destroyed North Carolina? In 1961, the U.S. Air Force accidentally dropped 2 atomic bombs over North Carolina. One of them went through 5 stages of activation, and only the last step didn't trigger, saving the state from a nuclear catastrophe. Both incidents happened due to issues with the aircraft. This tragedy, which could have changed history, shows just how close we sometimes come to global disaster. What if I told you the world's largest book weighs over 150 kilograms? The world's largest book, the Klenka Atlas, is housed in the British Library in London. This massive tome measures 1.75 meters tall and 1.90 meters wide, making it a true heavyweight in the literary world. Weighing in at 150 kilograms, it's almost impossible to lift without help. Despite its size, this giant atlas is not just a record holder, but a treasure trove of geography and history for book lovers. Is it true that hippos sweat red? When hippos spend a lot of time in the sun, their skin starts to secrete a special red fluid that looks like blood. This sweat acts as both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, protecting them from sunburn and infection. It's often called blood sweat, though it contains no blood at all. This incredible secretion helps hippos withstand the intense African sun, spending most of their days in water and only occasionally coming out onto land. Cucumber versus watermelon. Who wins the water battle? Believe it or not, cucumbers contain more water than watermelons. While we tend to think of watermelon as the most watery fruit, cucumbers actually contain 95% water, while watermelons have around 91 to 92%. This makes cucumbers slightly more watery than their red counterparts. So, if you want to quench your thirst on a hot day, a cucumber might be even more effective than watermelon. It's amazing how such simple vegetables can hide surprising facts. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably, even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Did you know that bees need to visit 2 million flowers to make 1 kilogram of honey? To produce just 1 kilogram of honey, bees must visit around 2 million flowers. This labor-intensive process involves collecting nectar from a wide variety of plants, and through the hard work of the hive, the sweet nectar of nature is created. Every drop of honey represents the collective effort of thousands of bees and the biodiversity of the plants they visit. Honey is more than just a sweet treat. It's a testament to the wonders of the natural world. Did you know that honey can last forever? Honey is one of the few natural products that practically never spoils and can remain edible for thousands of years. Archaeologists discovered pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs, over 3,000 years old, and the honey was still edible. The secret to this longevity lies in honey's unique chemical composition. It contains very little water and has high acidity, which creates an environment where bacteria and mold can't thrive. This natural preservative ensures honey's everlasting freshness, making it a wonder of nature that can remain delicious and usable for centuries. It's hard to believe, but giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae. Despite the fact that a giraffe's neck is much longer, both giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. These bones provide support for the head and allow neck mobility. In giraffes, they are simply much longer than in humans. This fascinating fact highlights the amazing diversity of evolution and nature despite the external differences between species. The first speeding ticket, 8 miles per hour is too fast. In 1896, the first ever speeding ticket was issued in England. Walter Arnold was caught driving at 8 miles per hour, about 13 kilometers per hour, which was 4 times faster than the speed limit. A policeman on a bicycle caught up with the offender and fined him. This event became historic, and today's road traffic has left such speeds far behind. Did you know that Great Britain was not always an island? Great Britain is an island nation that comprises 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. However, it wasn't always an island. About 88,000 years ago, before the Ice Age, the land that is now Great Britain was part of the continent. It was only after rising sea levels separated the land that Great Britain became an island. This process was a result of climate change and altered the entire geography of the region. The shortest war lasted only 38 minutes. In 1896, a war broke out between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar, which became the shortest in history. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to comply with British demands. Britain sent warships into the harbor, and within 38 minutes of intense bombardment, the Sultan surrendered. During that time, the British ships destroyed the Sultan's palace and his fleet before installing a new ruler who supported British interests. This record for the fastest war conclusion has never been broken. India has become the world's most populous country. In 2024, India surpassed China, becoming the country with the largest population in the world. According to recent estimates, India's population has reached 1,420,000,000 people, overtaking China for the first time. This demographic shift is significant not only for India, but for the entire world, as it influences global economic and social trends. By the way, projections indicate that India's population will continue to grow, peaking around 2064. Mosquito. Detectives. Case closed. Did you know that mosquitoes can help solve crimes? In Finland, police found a dead mosquito inside a stolen car. By analyzing the blood left inside the mosquito, they identified the DNA of the thief. Female mosquitoes feed on blood to nourish their eggs, while males stick to nectar. This unique case shows how even the smallest creatures can play a big role in justice. It's a perfect example of how science and nature sometimes surprise us with their unexpected contributions. Isn't it interesting that hedgehogs can swim? These little spiky creatures don't seem built for water, but they are surprisingly good swimmers. Hedgehogs can not only swim, but also hold their breath underwater. They puff up like little rafts and can cross rivers and lakes if necessary. Although they don't often need to, the ability to swim helps them survive in the wild, proving that even the smallest creatures can be great adventurers. Did you know that in the US, there are banknotes with denominations up to $100,000? These bills were designed for internal transfers between large financial institutions and were never used in everyday transactions. Primarily, they were intended to facilitate operations between Federal Reserve banks. Such notes are rare, and although they are no longer issued, they remain an important part of the history of the American financial system and serve as an interesting example of unique solutions in banking practice. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Did you know that frogs can retract their eyes to swallow food? Some species of frogs have an incredible ability to help them swallow their prey. They retract their eyes into their heads. When a frog catches an insect or small prey, its eyes sink deep into its skull, creating pressure that pushes the food down its throat. It's a strange yet fascinating spectacle in the world of amphibians. Frogs have evolved amazing adaptations that allow them to survive in various environments. And this is just one of the many unique features of their anatomy. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year, when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures like the Eiffel Tower are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Ready to walk the entire Great Wall of China? If you're planning to walk the entire length of the Great Wall of China, prepare for a monumental journey. The Great Wall stretches for over 5,000 miles, or about 8,000 kilometers, across China. Walking the entire distance could take around 18 months, walking every day. The Great Wall is not just an ancient feat of engineering, but one of the world's greatest wonders, offering breathtaking views and glimpses into China's vast history at every step. Amazingly, oysters can change their gender. Oysters possess an incredible ability to change gender based on their needs. Throughout their lives, they may become male or female multiple times, helping them adapt to their environment and reproduce more effectively. This flexibility is crucial in habitats with varying population dynamics, where these changes can greatly influence survival. The United States is the birthplace of skyscrapers. The first skyscraper was built in Chicago in 1885 and held the record until 1931. The tallest building in the U.S., Freedom Tower in New York, which stands on the site of the destroyed Twin Towers, is currently the seventh tallest building in the world. These architectural marvels symbolize not only strength and technology, but also the resilience of the nation, following the 9/11 tragedy. Skyscrapers in the U.S. embody the country's ambitions and its capability to construct unique, magnificent structures that continue to astonish the world. The broken chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. At the feet of the Statue of Liberty are broken chains, symbolizing freedom from oppression and injustice. These chains, often hidden from view, send a powerful message: the continuous march towards emancipation and liberty. They serve as a reminder that the struggle for freedom never truly ends, and every step taken is part of the larger journey towards justice. The Statue of Liberty's broken chains represent hope and liberation for all. Did you know that sea cucumbers eject their insides to survive? Sea cucumbers are true masters of survival, and their methods might surprise you. When these unusual creatures face predators, they can literally expel their internal organs. This extreme defense mechanism distracts the predator while the sea cucumber escapes. But don't worry. After a while, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs as if nothing had happened. This unusual survival mechanism allows them to thrive in the harshest marine environments, showing that nature sometimes finds very unexpected solutions. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. Why does Patagonia have a lake that completely disappears every year? Lake Capri in Patagonia is a true natural wonder. Each summer, its waters vanish as if by magic. Scientists believe that the water drains into underground tunnels that open during the summer, and then the lake refills in the winter. This makes Lake Capri one of Patagonia's most mysterious attractions, drawing tourists and researchers who try to unravel the secrets of its disappearance. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals, where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Is it true that there is a bridge in China that only glows during a full moon? In Guizhou Province, there is a bridge called the Moonlight Bridge, which becomes visible only under the light of the full moon. This bridge is made from a special material that reflects moonlight, creating the illusion that it glows in the dark. Tourists plan their trips around full moons just to see this unusual phenomenon. The architects who designed the bridge were inspired by ancient Chinese legends of moon spirits, and now this bridge has become one of the most romantic spots in the region. How would you react if you learned that London is a city with a history spanning nearly 2,000 years? Founded by the Romans in 43 Sauis 2 AD, it was originally called Londinium. Over time, its name changed, and it became a hub of global culture and economy. London was the first city to have an underground railway, and even the first to open a hot chocolate shop. Today, nearly 9 million people live in London, speaking over 300 languages.